Matthew had lost his school fees on his way back from school. He had tucked it carefully into his pocket, but somehow, without realizing it, the money had slipped out. As he walked under the burning sun, tears streamed down his cheeks. He sobbed uncontrollably, but despite the crowd passing by, no one stopped. Across the road, a woman sat at a small stall selling tomatoes and peppers. She looked up and noticed the crying boy. Her heart ached for him. Standing quickly, she called out softly, "My child, why are you crying like this?" Matthew wiped his face with the back of his hand. "Mama, I've lost my school fees," he sniffled. "I don't know how. I've searched everywhere but I can't find it." She stepped closer. "Calm down, my son. Tell me what happened." "My name is Madam Patricia. I live with my father and stepmother," Matthew began. "My dad lost his job months ago, so now my stepmother feeds us. She gave me the money to pay my fees today and warned me not to return without the receipt. If I do, she'll beat me and might even send my father out." Patricia's heart sank. She didn't have much herself, just a poor widow surviving by selling small baskets of tomatoes. The money she earned that day was all she had, but when she looked into Matthew's eyes, she didn't hesitate. "How much are the fees?" she asked gently. 5,000 naira, Matthew replied with a shaky voice. Patricia reached under her stall and pulled out an old tin box. Inside was the bundle of notes she had earned that day. Slowly, she placed it in Matthew's hands. "Take it. Go and pay your school fees," she said with a weak but warm smile. Matthew's eyes widened. "Mama, are you sure?" "Yes, my child," she nodded. "It's all I have, but it's okay. Work hard in school. Avoid bad company. One day, you'll be great." Clutching the money, Matthew wiped his tears. "Thank you, Mama. I promise I'll never forget you. When I become successful, I'll find you and help you." Patricia smiled and gently placed her hand on his head, whispering a prayer. Then she returned to her stall, still without food but at peace in her heart. Matthew ran toward the school, glancing back once to whisper, "God bless that woman." Later, when Matthew got home, he looked tired but relieved. He had the receipt in his pocket. His father sat outside on a small bench, worry etched on his face. "Matthew, welcome. Did you pay the school fees?" "Yes, Daddy," Matthew replied and handed him the receipt. Then he looked down. "But I have to tell you something." His father frowned. "What is it?" "I lost the money on my way to school," Matthew admitted. "I don't know how. I searched everywhere." I cried. His father's face tightened. "Matthew, do you know what that money meant to us? Your stepmother will starve us again. She'll say I'm useless. She might even throw us out." "I'm sorry, Daddy. I didn't mean to. I was scared. I even thought of not coming home." His father turned away, breathing heavily. "Then someone helped me," Matthew added quietly. His father looked back. "Who?" "A woman," Matthew said, smiling through his tears. "She sells tomatoes by the road. She saw me crying and asked what happened. I told her everything. She gave me 5,000 naira. She said it was her last, but she didn't mind. She just told me to stay focused in school and avoid bad friends. Her name is Madam Patricia." The room went quiet. His father sat down slowly and whispered, "God bless that woman. A stranger helped my son when we had nothing. We must go and thank her. This kind of kindness is rare." "Yes, Daddy. I want to. I promised I'd never forget her." His father placed a hand on his back. "And I believe you. God will help you." While Matthew and his father made plans to visit Madame Patricia, tragedy had already struck her side. That morning, Patricia sat quietly in her stall. Business was slow, her stomach empty, but her heart was content knowing she had helped a child in need. Suddenly, loud noises erupted. Trucks and uniformed men marched down the road. One shouted through a megaphone, "All roadside stalls must be cleared. This is government land. You were warned." Before she could gather her things, the men began tearing down the stalls. Her tomatoes scattered, her old umbrella tossed aside. "Please," she begged. "Let me pack my goods." No one listened. They destroyed her stall completely. She stood there crying, clutching one small basket she managed to save. Sweat and tears ran down her face. "Where will I sell now?" she whispered. "How will I feed my daughter?" Other women cried too, but it was too late. The trucks moved on. Patricia walked home slowly, barefoot in the dust, carrying the little she had left. But as she turned the corner, she froze. Her daughter, Agatha, stood outside, crying. Their belongings were thrown out beside the gate. The landlord stood nearby, arms crossed. "Madam Patricia," he sneered. "You haven't paid rent for a year. I'm done with excuses. You and your daughter must leave. I've found new tenants." Patricia dropped her basket and rushed to Agatha. "Are you okay?" Agatha nodded, wiping her tears. "Mama, I begged them to wait, but they threw everything out." Patricia turned to the landlord. "Please. I just lost my stall today. Give me a little more time." But he walked away. "I don't run a charity. Sleep in the streets if you want." As the sun went down, Patricia and Agatha sat beside their bags. People passed, some stared, others whispered, but no one helped. Patricia held her daughter close. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice trembling. "I tried." Agatha rested her head on her mother's shoulder. "I know, Mama. You're the best mother in the world. God will help us." Patricia looked up at the sky and whispered, "God, I don't regret helping that boy. I'd do it again. But please, I need a miracle." That night, they slept outside, hungry and cold. Still, Patricia clung to hope. By morning, she gently rubbed Agatha's back. "We can't stay here, my daughter. Let's go to the next city. My old friend, Sister N.A., lives there. Maybe she can help." Agatha nodded without hesitation. Patricia used the last of her money to buy 2 bus tickets. It wasn't much, but just enough. They sat quietly at the back of the crowded bus, holding their bags. Patricia stared out the window, praying. When they arrived, they walked slowly to the street where Sister N.A. lived. Patricia hadn't seen her in years, but she remembered the house. She knocked, her heart pounding. The gate opened. A woman stood there, shocked. "Patricia," she asked, "what happened to you?" Tears welled up in Patricia's eyes. "We lost everything. My stall was destroyed. Then we were thrown out of our home. We slept outside." Sister N.A. gasped and opened the gate wide. "Come in, my sister. Quickly." She gave them water, let them sit and rest. Then she paused, shaking her head. "Patricia, you came just in time. My husband and I are moving this weekend. I was going to return the house key to the landlord today and collect the balance on our rent." Patricia looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean the house is already paid for. A full year. You can stay. I'll tell the landlord to put it in your name. You don't have to pay anything now." Patricia fell to her knees. "Sister Anna, are you giving me your house?" "Yes, Patricia. You need it more than I do. God sent you here for a reason. Patricia wept with joy. Thank you. Thank you, God. God will bless you, Sister N.A. He will reward you richly. You don't know what this means to me and my daughter, Patricia said tearfully. Wait, Sister N.A. added, reaching into a small drawer. I'm not done. I also have some money I saved for emergencies. You can use it to start another tomato stall. It should be enough to get you going, and to cover Agatha's school fees too. Patricia burst into tears and held her friend's hands tightly. You don't know what you've done for me. Just yesterday, I had nothing. Now I have a roof over my head and a new beginning. God will bless you richly. You'll never lack. Sister N.A. hugged her warmly. That's what friends are for. You helped me once when I had nothing. It's my turn to give back. Agatha smiled for the first time in days. Thank you, Auntie. I'll study hard and make you proud. 3 days later, Matthew reminded his father of the promise they had made. Daddy, we said we'd go and thank the woman who helped me. Let's go today. His father nodded. Yes, my son. A person like that deserves our thanks. They boarded a bus to the street where Matthew had last seen the kind woman. But when they arrived, they were stunned. The entire row of roadside stalls was gone, demolished. The area was now a barren stretch of earth, scattered with broken wood, torn umbrellas, and overturned baskets. Matthew's heart sank. Daddy, this is where she Saturday. This was her stall. What happened? His father looked around and sighed. It must be the government demolition we heard about. They've cleared everyone out. Matthew looked up and down the street, hoping to find someone, anyone, who could tell them where she had gone. But the place was silent. There was no one to ask. Defeated, they turned and made their way back home. As they stepped into their compound, Matthew's stepmother stood at the doorway, arms folded, eyes sharp. Where have you both been? She asked, her voice cutting. Matthew's father answered calmly, We went to look for the woman who helped Matthew pay his school fees. What woman? She snapped. He explained the situation, how Matthew had lost the money and how a poor tomato seller had given her last cash to help. She burst into mocking laughter. What a beautiful fairy tale. And you expect me to believe you left this house all morning to thank some woman? Are you not ashamed? Matthew stepped forward, trying to defend himself. It's true, Ma. She really helped me. Shut up, boy, she screamed. Your father is cheating on me with that woman. That's why he left with you this morning. Look at you both, like father, like son. Matthew's father was stunned. How can you say that? I'm telling you the truth. She helped your stepson. I don't care, she shouted. Get out of my house. I'm tired of feeding two useless people. Go and live with your precious tomato seller. Before either of them could speak, she stormed inside and started throwing their clothes and bags out. Out! Out of my house! She yelled. They stood there in silence, humiliated. Matthew's father quietly picked up their belongings. He didn't argue. They walked down the street with nowhere to go. Eventually, they found a small shop with a bench outside. The shopkeeper, seeing their condition, allowed them to rest. As they sat in silence, Matthew's father looked across the road and saw a small store that sold lottery tickets and games. He stood up. Matthew, wait here. Let me try something. Where are you going, Daddy? Just a little game, he said quietly. I'll be back. He had only a little money left, just enough for dinner, but something told him to take the chance. He entered the store, bought a ticket, scribbled down the numbers, and left, thinking nothing of it. 2 days later, He returned to the shop to check the results. He walked in slowly, not expecting anything. The shop owner glanced at his ticket, then stared in disbelief. "Wait, sir. This is the winning number." Matthew's father blinked. "What do you mean?" "You won," the man said, jumping. "You won the jackpot. 100 million naira." He froze. 100 what? 100 million, the man repeated. "You're a rich man now." Matthew's father sat on the nearest chair, shaking. Tears streamed down his face. "God, is this really happening to me?" He wept, tears of relief, pain, and joy. Everything had changed in a moment. No more hunger. No more shame. 15 years passed. Matthew was no longer the small boy who had cried by the roadside. He had grown into a tall, confident young man with bold steps and a heart full of purpose. Now the only son of a billionaire, his life had transformed. After his father's jackpot win, their lives changed completely. They moved into a beautiful house and built a successful business. From there, the wealth multiplied. Matthew didn't waste the opportunity. He worked hard, completed his education, and earned a degree in business. Soon after, he started his own company, and it quickly became one of the fastest growing in the country. He gained recognition not just for his business acumen, but for his humility and kindness. Yet, there was one person he never forgot, the woman who once gave him her last money. Every year, on the same date, Matthew would sit quietly in his office and remember that day. He had searched for her countless times, but no one knew where she had gone after the stalls were demolished. Still, he never gave up. "One day, I'll find her," he whispered every year. "I must." Meanwhile, in a small distant town, Patricia and Agatha were still trying to make ends meet. Life hadn't been easy. The money from Sister Na helped for a while, but they had to start over several times. They now lived in a cramped room behind an old compound. Patricia continued selling tomatoes. Her back ached, and her vision blurred sometimes, but she never stopped. Agatha, now a graceful and intelligent young woman, had completed her university education a year ago. She applied for jobs, attended interviews, but nothing ever came through. So, she stayed home, helping her mother at the stall. Every morning, she wore an old apron and arranged tomatoes on their small wooden table. She called out to passers-by, trying to make enough sales before the sun became too hot. Some days were good. Others ended in tears. "Don't worry, Mama," Agatha often said. "Our story will change. I believe it." Patricia would smile faintly. "I believe too. God is watching." But deep inside, she carried the weight of guilt, wishing she could give her daughter a better life. One evening, as they packed up their goods, Patricia said quietly, "Agatha, do you still remember that little boy I helped so many years ago?" Agatha smiled gently. "Yes, Mama. You've told me that story many times." "I wonder where he is now," Patricia murmured. "I hope he's doing well." It was a bright Saturday morning when Patricia went to the market to restock tomatoes, leaving Agatha alone at the stall. Agatha sat quietly, fanning herself with a piece of cardboard, waiting for customers. Suddenly, a black car pulled up nearby. A tall, well-dressed man stepped out. He walked confidently but wore a calm, pleasant expression. He approached the stall and smiled. "Good afternoon, young lady." "Good afternoon, sir," Agatha replied. "I just left a wedding nearby," he said. "I want to buy some tomatoes to cook stew when I get home." Agatha began selecting the best tomatoes for him. As she bagged them, something urged her to ask. "Sir, please don't be offended, but why would a man like you be cooking for himself?" Don't you have a wife or children? The man chuckled. That's a fair question. No offense taken. He paused, then said quietly, I don't have a wife. My only son travels a lot for business. I'm mostly alone now. I had a cook, but she moved to another state with her family. So, I cook for myself. Agatha nodded. Oh, I see. He continued, I've been searching for someone who can cook well, someone honest and trustworthy. I'm tired of eating outside. He extended his hand. By the way, I'm Mr. Benson. I run a business here. Agatha shook his hand. Nice to meet you, sir. I'm Agatha. Mr. Benson looked at her closely. What are you doing selling tomatoes? You look educated. I am, sir, she replied. I graduated from university last year. I've been job hunting, but nothing has worked out yet. So, I help my mother. Mr. Benson nodded slowly. What if I offered you a job? Agatha looked up, surprised. A job, sir? Yes, he said with a warm smile. I like your attitude. You're respectful, you speak well, and you seem genuine. Come and work for me, as my cook. I'll pay you. Matthew sat quietly in the garden behind the grand house, watching the flowers dance in the evening breeze. His heart was full, but his thoughts refused to settle. He had traveled far and wide, attended countless business meetings, and been to the most elegant parties, yet none of those experiences stirred anything close to what he now felt. Agatha. There was something about her that touched a part of him he didn't even know was empty. Her smile lingered in his mind, her laughter echoed in his ears, and the scent of her cooking felt like home. It wasn't just admiration. It was something deeper, something tender, something real. He sighed and leaned back, staring at the sky as if it might offer answers. Why does it feel like I've known her forever? He muttered. Every time he saw her, his heart reacted before his mind could catch up. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She was simply being herself, gentle, graceful, and quietly confident. Meanwhile, back in her mother's small house, Agatha lay on the mat beside Patricia, staring at the ceiling with a quiet smile. Her thoughts were far away. The laughter they had shared that evening still warmed her heart, but it was Matthew's face that filled her mind. She turned slowly toward her mother. "Mama," she whispered, "I'm scared." Patricia shifted and looked at her. "Scared of what, my child?" Agatha hesitated. What if this is just a passing feeling? What if I'm only dreaming and nothing will come of it? Patricia reached over and held her hand. "My daughter, feelings are like seeds. Some grow, some don't. But when you feel something this strong, this honest, you must take it to God in prayer. He will guide your steps." Agatha nodded slowly. "I've never felt this way before. When he talks to me, I forget all my worries. He sees me. Not just the cook, not just a girl in his father's house. He sees me." "Then be calm," Patricia said softly. "Don't chase it. Don't force it. Just be yourself. If it's meant to be, he will come to you." The next morning, Agatha returned to Mr. Benson's house. As the car entered the compound, she looked at the white-painted gate, the blooming flowers, the peaceful air of the neighborhood, and smiled. It felt like a second home now. Matthew heard the car before he saw it. He rushed out and saw her step out, dressed simply but beautifully, holding her small bag. She smiled when their eyes met. "Welcome back," he said warmly. "Thank you," she replied, her voice light. "Did your mother enjoy the gifts?" "She loved them. I told her they were from my first salary." Matthew smiled. "I'm glad. You look refreshed." And you look like you haven't been sleeping well, she teased. He laughed. Maybe I was waiting for the kitchen to smell like jollof again. They walked back into the house side by side, silence settling comfortably between them. In that quiet, unspoken things passed between their glances, a promise, a question, and perhaps the beginning of something neither of them had planned for. And in a corner of the house, Mr. Benson watched from a distance, a thoughtful smile on his face. He saw the way they looked at each other, the softness in their voices, the way time paused around them. He folded his arms and whispered to himself, maybe, just maybe, this house will be filled with more than just the smell of good food. Maybe love is cooking too. He had attended, but all he could think about was Agatha. Her name had taken over his mind, his heart, his dreams. He stood up and walked into the living room where his father was sipping tea and reading a newspaper. "Dad," he said, standing before him. Mr. Benson looked up. "Matthew, you look serious. Is everything all right?" Matthew took a deep breath. "Dad, I'm in love with Agatha." Mr. Benson smiled and gently placed his teacup on the table. "I knew it." "You knew?" Matthew asked, surprised. His father laughed softly. "Of course. I see the way you look at her, the way you follow her into the kitchen like a lost puppy." Matthew chuckled and nodded. "Yes, Dad. I love her. I want to marry her as soon as possible. No time to waste." Mr. Benson stood slowly and placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "My son, you've chosen well. That girl is special. She's respectful, well-mannered, hard-working, intelligent, and beautiful. Who wouldn't want a daughter-in-law like her?" Matthew smiled in relief. "Thank you, Dad." Then he hesitated and lowered his voice. "I just don't know how to tell her. I'm afraid she might reject me." Mr. Benson laughed again. "You? Afraid of rejection?" "I'm serious, Dad," Matthew said. "She's different. She's simple, pure. I don't want to scare her or make her feel awkward." His father nodded. "If your love is true, then tell her. Speak from your heart. Even if she says no, at least you'll know. But who knows, she might feel the same way." Matthew looked down. "I hope so, Dad. I really hope so." The next day, Agatha returned from visiting her mother. She looked more beautiful than ever, glowing with warmth and joy. As she stepped into the house, Matthew walked over to help her with her bag. "Welcome back," he said with a warm smile. "Thank you, sir," she replied politely. "No more, sir. Just call me Matthew." She smiled and nodded. "Okay, Matthew." He took a deep breath. "Agatha, can we talk? Just 5 minutes." "Of course," she replied, butterflies fluttering in her stomach. He led her to the small garden behind the house, where flowers bloomed and birds chirped gently beneath the golden evening sky. Turning to her, he looked deeply into her eyes. "Agatha," he began, his voice slightly trembling. "This might sound strange or foolish, but I can't hide it anymore." She stood still, heart pounding. "I'm deeply in love with you," he said. "From the first day I saw you, the way you moved, smiled, cared, I couldn't stop thinking about you. You stole my heart, and I don't want it back." Agatha gasped quietly. "I don't waste time," Matthew continued. "Life is short, and I know what I want. I want you. I want to marry you. Please, don't say no." Silence filled the air. Then, slowly, Agatha stepped closer, emotion flooding her eyes. "Matthew," she said softly, "from the first day I saw you, I felt the same. But I couldn't say it." "Why?" Matthew asked, stunned. She smiled gently. Because I'm a woman. It's the man's place to say I love you first. Matthew laughed, his eyes brimming with tears. So all this time, you loved me too? Agatha nodded. Yes. I just wasn't sure you felt the same. He took her hands. I do. With all my heart. Will you marry me, Agatha? Her smile lit up the garden. Yes, Matthew. I will. He embraced her, and the garden seemed to come alive around them. The wind stirred as if nature itself was celebrating. Inside the house, Mr. Benson looked out the window and smiled. This is what happens when destiny speaks, he whispered. Far away, Patricia knelt in her small room, praying. Lord, wherever my daughter is, please let her be happy. She had no idea her prayer was already unfolding. A few days later, Matthew said to Agatha, I want to meet your mother. I want to thank her for raising someone like you. I want to tell her I want to marry her daughter. Agatha smiled. She'll be happy to meet you too. That Saturday morning, they dressed simply but neatly. Matthew looked calm, but his heart raced. As they walked toward Patricia's humble home, Agatha held his hand. Nervous? She asked. He chuckled. A little. I've never met someone's mother as a fiancé before. She smiled. Relax. She'll love you. Just be yourself. When they reached the small house, they knocked gently and stepped inside. The air smelled like warmth and memories. They sat on a modest brown sofa. Is your mother around? Matthew asked. She went to buy something. She'll be back soon. Moments later, the front door opened. Patricia walked in slowly with a black nylon bag. Her tired face brightened at the sight of her daughter. My daughter, you didn't tell me you were coming. Agatha stood to hug her. Mama, I wanted to surprise you. I brought someone special. Patricia turned to Matthew. He rose and greeted her respectfully. Good afternoon, Ma. Good afternoon, my son, she replied, smiling. You didn't say your visitor was this handsome. She turned, laughing, but Matthew kept looking at her. Something stirred in him, a memory, a feeling. As Patricia turned again, he stepped closer. Ma, please. Your name, is it Patricia? She looked puzzled. Yes, I am Patricia. Do we know each other? Matthew smiled sadly. You don't remember me, do you? She shook her head. No, I'm sorry. Many years ago, I was a little boy. I lost my school fees and was crying by the roadside. You were selling tomatoes. I told you everything, how my stepmother would beat me. You gave me 5,000 naira. Your last money. You prayed for me. You said your name was Patricia, and I never forgot. Patricia's eyes widened. Wait, are you that boy? Matthew nodded. Yes, Ma. I'm the boy you helped. He knelt gently before her. You gave me hope. That one act changed everything. I became who I am because of your kindness. Tears filled Patricia's eyes. She covered her mouth, overwhelmed. God, you mean you were that child? Yes, Matthew said. I searched for you for years. I never imagined the woman I love is your daughter. Agatha also wept quietly, rubbing her mother's back. Mama, I didn't know either. Patricia couldn't speak. Her hands trembled as she looked at Matthew. See how you've grown. See how God raised you. Matthew took her hands. Now I want to bless you the way you blessed me. I want to marry your daughter and take care of you both. This isn't just love. This is destiny. Patricia broke down in tears. God, you are too faithful. She looked at Agatha. You didn't tell me you were in love with an angel. Agatha laughed through her tears. I didn't even know he was the boy you helped. I just loved him for who he is. Patricia smiled at Matthew. You're welcome, my son. Once a child in need, now a man full of grace. I thank God for today. They embraced tightly. In that small room, hearts healed, promises were honored, and a new future began. The next morning, Matthew woke up with one thought: honor. He didn't just want to marry Agatha, he wanted to honor the woman who once saved him. Later that day, he asked Agatha and Patricia to come outside. A car arrived slowly. 4 men stepped out carrying bags of rice, cartons of food, cooking oil, new pots, and 2 gold-wrapped fabrics. What's happening? Patricia asked, shocked. Matthew smiled. This is just the beginning, Mama. One man handed her a brown envelope. She opened it slowly. Her hands trembled. Inside was a check in her name for 10 million naira. Matthew, what is this? It's for you, Mama, he said gently. For everything you lost, for the rent, the stall, the 5,000 you gave a stranger. You deserve more. Patricia burst into tears, unable to speak. But there was more. Matthew handed her another envelope. She opened it and found keys and documents. A 3-bedroom house in this town. Fully furnished. Paid in your name. You'll never pay rent again. Patricia dropped to her knees, weeping. God, you remembered me. Agatha hugged her mother. This is your reward, Mama. God never forgot. Weeks later, Matthew and Agatha had a beautiful garden wedding. Simple, colorful, full of love. Agatha wore a flowing white gown. Matthew stood proudly beside her. Mr. Benson beamed. Patricia, glowing in her new wrapper and head tie, watched with a heart full of peace. From a roadside tomato seller to a joyful mother of the bride, God had indeed lifted her. As they danced, Matthew whispered to Agatha, I told you I don't waste time. She smiled, and I told you I loved you from the start. Matthew glanced at Patricia, laughing and dancing. She gave me her last. Now I've given her my best, he whispered. Months later, Agatha gave birth to twin boys. The home was filled with celebration. Mr. Benson carried one child proudly. Patricia held the other, tears of joy in her eyes. My daughter, she whispered, God has doubled your blessings. Matthew hugged Agatha tightly. You've made me the happiest man alive. And they lived happily ever after. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take from this touching story? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more heartwarming stories.